Welcome to Astro Odyssey. Explore the universe. What if you woke up tomorrow morning, reached for your phone, scrolled through the news, and saw just 3 words trending across every platform on Earth? The moon is gone. It's not dimmer. Not hidden behind clouds. Not an eclipse. Gone. Vanished from the sky without warning, without explosion, without debris. No dramatic flash. No apocalyptic trumpet. Just an empty stretch of darkness where the brightest object in our night sky used to be. At first, you might think it's fake. A glitch. A hoax. But then night falls again, and the sky confirms it. The familiar silver guardian that has hovered above humanity for all of recorded history is simply not there. No crescent. No gibbous. No full moon rising like a lantern over the horizon. Just stars in an unsettling void where something ancient and constant once lived. The psychological shock alone would ripple through humanity faster than any tsunami. For thousands of years, the moon has been more than a rock in orbit. It has been our clock, our myth, our muse, our silent companion. Entire civilizations built calendars around its phases. Religions aligned festivals with its cycles. Poets wrote of it. Lovers pointed at it. Sailors navigated by it. Wolves howled beneath it. To lose it overnight would feel less like losing an object and more like losing a presence. There would be a strange collective vertigo, as if the sky itself had forgotten something important. Children would ask their parents where it went. Scientists would scramble for explanations. Social media would explode with theories of alien intervention. Secret weapons, divine judgment, a cosmic accident too large for comprehension. But beyond the cultural shock lies something far more serious. The moon is not just decoration. It is a stabilizer, a gravitational partner, a silent architect of life on Earth. Its disappearance would not be a poetic tragedy. It would be a planetary crisis unfolding in slow, terrifying stages. The first and most immediate change would be the nights themselves. Moonlight is faint compared to sunlight, but it is powerful enough to cast shadows, guide migrations, influence animal behavior, and even subtly shape human sleep patterns. Without it, nights would become dramatically darker. In rural areas, far from city lights, the darkness would feel prehistoric. Stargazing would improve spectacularly. The Milky Way would blaze brighter than most people have ever seen it. But beauty would come wrapped in danger. Countless species rely on moonlight cues to hunt, hide, migrate, or reproduce. Sea turtles that use the reflection of moonlight on the ocean to navigate would become disoriented. Nocturnal predators would struggle. Prey animals that time their movements to lunar brightness would face chaos. The balance of ecosystems would begin to wobble almost immediately. Then there are the tides. Twice a day, like the steady breathing of the planet, Earth's oceans rise and fall. This rhythm is driven primarily by the moon's gravity. The sun contributes too, but the moon is the dominant force. If the moon vanished tomorrow, tides would not disappear entirely, but they would shrink dramatically, reduced to perhaps 1/3 of their current range. Coastal ecosystems that depend on strong tidal flows, estuaries, tidal flats, mangroves would face upheaval. Nutrient mixing in coastal waters would decline. Species adapted to wide tidal swings would struggle to survive. Entire fisheries could collapse over time. Billions of people depend on seafood as a primary protein source. The economic consequences would compound year after year, quietly but relentlessly. Yet the most profound effect might not be immediate. It would unfold over decades, centuries, even millennia. The moon acts like a stabilizing weight on a spinning top. Earth is tilted at about 23.5 degrees relative to its orbit around the sun. And that tilt is what gives us seasons. The moon's gravitational influence keeps that tilt relatively stable. Without it, Earth's axial tilt would begin to wobble more dramatically over long timescales. It might swing between 0 degrees and 45 degrees or more. Imagine a world with no tilt at all, no seasons, equatorial heat locked in place, polar cold unrelenting. Or imagine a tilt so extreme that the poles point directly at the sun for months, baking in continuous daylight while the opposite hemisphere freezes in prolonged darkness. Over thousands to millions of years, climate patterns would become wildly unpredictable. Ice ages could come and go with ferocity. Deserts might bloom and then vanish. Tropical regions could migrate. The stable climatic cradle in which human civilization evolved would no longer be guaranteed. In the short term, within days or weeks, most people might not notice dramatic physical changes beyond darker nights and smaller tides. Life would continue. Flights would depart. Traffic would jam highways. But scientists would know something fundamental had shifted. Astronomers would re-examine gravitational models. Physicists would question whether such a disappearance violated known laws. The moon cannot simply blink out of existence without transferring its mass and gravitational influence somewhere. If it were destroyed, debris would likely rain down on Earth or form rings. If it were teleported or shifted, the sudden change in gravitational balance could slightly alter Earth's orbit. Even a tiny orbital adjustment could have cascading consequences over time. Consider Earth's rotation. The moon is slowly stealing energy from Earth's spin through tidal friction. Every century, our days get slightly longer by milliseconds. Without the moon, that braking effect would largely cease. Earth's rotation would stabilize at its current rate. Days would remain about 24 hours long for much longer into the future. On the surface, that sounds harmless, even convenient. But the long-term dance between rotation and orbit shapes planetary climate and atmosphere. But perhaps the most dramatic long-term effect would be the destabilization of Earth's axial tilt. Computer simulations suggest that without a large moon, a planet's tilt can vary chaotically over millions of years. Mars, which lacks a large stabilizing moon, experiences such variations. Its tilt has swung dramatically in the past, contributing to climate shifts. If Earth followed a similar path, the comfortable climatic stability that allowed agriculture to flourish might eventually vanish. Imagine trying to build a civilization when seasons are not just unpredictable year to year, but radically different over geological timescales. Polar ice could melt entirely during high tilt periods, raising sea levels by tens of meters, then reform when tilt decreases. Human infrastructure, designed for relative stability, would be perpetually playing catch-up. And yet humanity is nothing if not adaptive. We have survived ice ages, plagues, world wars. If the moon vanished, we would not immediately go extinct. We would study, innovate, compensate. Artificial tidal systems might be engineered in key ecosystems. Climate engineering would accelerate. Space exploration would intensify as we seek answers beyond Earth. The mystery itself could unite us in a shared cosmic humility. After all, if something as massive and ancient as the moon can vanish, what else about our universe is less permanent than we assumed? There is also a deeper philosophical tremor in this scenario. The moon is a symbol of constancy. It waxes and wanes, but it always returns. Its disappearance would shatter the illusion of cosmic permanence. We tend to think of celestial objects as eternal on human timescales. The sun will rise. The moon will orbit. The stars will shine. To lose one of these anchors would remind us that we live in a dynamic, sometimes violent universe. Stability is not guaranteed. It is a temporary alignment of forces. And what if, one night, years later, A faint point of light appeared where the moon once was. A returning fragment? A new satellite captured by Earth's gravity? The human response would be electric. Telescopes would pivot. Headlines would scream. The sky would once again feel alive with narrative. Because ultimately, the story of the moon is intertwined with the story of us. Most leading theories suggest the moon formed from a colossal collision between early Earth and a Mars-sized body billions of years ago. That impact reshaped our planet, stabilized our tilt, to influence the formation of oceans, and may have played a role in making Earth habitable. In a sense, the moon is a scar from an ancient wound, a reminder that destruction can give birth to stability. Remove that scar, and you rewrite the story. You expose how delicately balanced our world truly is. The tides, the tilt, the length of our days, the rhythms of wildlife, the poetry of night, all tied to a single celestial companion. The moon's disappearance would not trigger instant apocalypse, but it would begin a slow unraveling of systems we barely notice because they have always been there. So tonight, if you step outside and see the moon hanging in the sky, consider how much it does without asking for attention. Consider the billions of tons of ocean it lifts each day. Consider the axis it steadies. Consider the myths it inspired and the calendars it shaped. Imagine the darkness without it. Imagine the oceans breathing more shallowly. Imagine seasons drifting into chaos over millennia. The moon is not just a backdrop. It is a partner in Earth's dance around the sun, and perhaps the most haunting part of this thought experiment is how quietly it would begin. No explosion, no warning. Just an absence, a missing light, a question mark in the sky. Humanity staring upward, collectively whispering, where did it go? In that question lies both our vulnerability and our curiosity. Because even if the moon disappeared tomorrow, one thing would not: our drive to understand. We would build better instruments, launch deeper probes, rewrite textbooks, tell new stories. The sky would feel emptier, but our determination to fill that emptiness with knowledge would burn brighter than ever. In the end, the disappearance of the moon would be a test not just of planetary physics, but of human resilience. It would challenge our science, our economies, our ecosystems, our myths. It would darken our nights and unsettle our oceans. It would slowly loosen the climatic stability we take for granted. But it would also remind us that we are participants in a vast cosmic system, not masters of it. The moon's steady glow has always been a silent reassurance that some things endure. To lose it would be to confront impermanence on a planetary scale. And maybe, just maybe that realization would change us more than the tides ever did.